At this very moment, you are watching Body Bags, and I'm John Carpenter. That's me with a chainsaw. Body Bags was an anthology pilot that we did for Showtime back in the early 90s. And I actually play a part. I'm the coroner in the wraparound segments. And I must say, being a really terrible actor most of the time, I really enjoyed playing this part. Rick Baker made me up to look like a corpse, which I look like normally anyway, but he gave it a little bit of Phantom of the Opera vibe. And here I am right now, about to blow the screen apart with my performance. Body Bags was something that I did between Memoirs of an Invisible Man and my next movie, which was In the Mouth of Madness. And it was a lot of fun to do. I really enjoyed working with all the actors and crew. And I have to admit I enjoyed acting, although I'm no good at it. I had to restrain myself. Well, first of all, under Rick Baker's makeup, it freed me from my natural inhibitions as a human being, so I could go ahead and overact and be stupid. But I had to restrain myself from playing Beetlejuice, who is probably the best absurd horror character there is. And let me tell you something. It's no fun getting made up in the morning by Rick Baker. It's really no fun. However, once we got rolling, things were good. Shot this in downtown Los Angeles. This is an old deserted building, basically, down there, used for a lot of shooting. This same hallway I shot Escape from LA, a sequence in. And now I'm beginning my first segment. And now we begin the first segment of Body Bags, and thankfully my bad acting is behind us. And sitting next to me right now is the man you're looking at on the screen, the one, the only, the famous Bobby Carradine. How you doing, Bob?
Oh, good, John. How you doing
What's
today?
going on?
Well, getting ready to run this here gas station.
Yeah. This was fun to do because it had a lot of setups in it and cuts in it. And I also thought you were fabulous as the bad guy in it and the crazed killer.
Well, thanks, John. I take that as a compliment, I think.
Well, yeah. From a man whose career spans working with John Wayne and the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Which is very impressive to me.
Well, thank you.
There's Alex Datcher. She's basically the lead girl. Plays Anne.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they clap hands. Wow. There you are. Look at you.
Got to keep those teeth clean, John.
I understand that. I do understand that. We shot this out in Lancaster, as I remember, because...
Yeah, on the edge of the Mojave Desert.
The lights in the background, because we wanted it to be an isolated, desolate area.
Which it was.
We had to stay out in that motel out there, which was not fun, but it was okay. You look very interesting in this outfit here. This is, what's your name, Bill?
I'm Bill, the gas station attendant.
Except
runner.
you're not really, are you? You're a crazed killer, but
well,
I don't
want to give that away.
I understand that, but we shot this in I forget how many days. Wasn't too long.
I'm guessing maybe a week.
Something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that.
So, you worked with Mark Rydell on the Cowboys, didn't you?
Yeah.
Over the years. What was he like?
Well, he was almost as good at directing as you are, John. And I remember one time, because it was the first time I'd ever been in a film, I decided I wanted to do another take. But it was about half an hour after that setup. You know, it was maybe 3 or 4 setups down the road. And he took me aside and he said, you see all those lights and that camera over there? I said, yeah. He said, well, when they're here, that's when you ask for another take. I said, oh, okay, yeah, sorry.
Well, that's good, though. That's good. He helped you out.
Yeah.
How old were you then? When
17.
Man, oh man, oh man. Man, oh man. And you worked with the Duke,
Yeah, the one, the only.
who's still going strong in terms of being a popular actor with people, and especially on cable TV and movies.
Yeah, I think they got him in the top 10 still.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah.
For a guy who had limitations on his acting range,
Right.
but for some reason he projected this image that we all fell in love with, or at least most of us did.
So, she seems concerned. I don't know why.
Well, because I think that's Wes Craven driving by.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, this is a look-see deal here. This is it's basically all centered on her in that booth, that lonely booth.
Right.
And she looks up to see things, and then we cut to her point of view. And we're now reading about antisocial behavior, which is the definition of you. And there he comes. There's the one, the only, Wes Craven.
I
Was
thought
kind
that
enough
was-
to come and do this for me.
I thought that was really impressive that you got him in there.
Well, you know, he's a good guy. There he is. He actually did a real good job with this.
Well, he
Has a-
looks great, but
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
you always get great makeup people, so they helped him look a little off.
Well, yeah, and he also played it too. He's got a little twinkle in his eye there. This was fun to do. It was not challenging, other than the fact that, like I say, I needed a lot of setups. So I had to keep changing the camera angles.
Yeah.
I wanted it to have a lot of energy to it. But everybody was ready. Everybody was prepared, and it went well. Excuse me for coughing.
Oh, no worries, John.
Thank you, Bobby. And that you forgive me for things is important to me. It's very important. Last time I saw you was at a convention.
Yeah, somewhere in the southeast.
I think so. And you were there for the nerds getting back together again.
And you were there for your wonderful career.
Well, I was there to collect as much money as I could. I recall meeting you in the elevator in the morning after you'd had a night of reminiscing with your pals, and you weren't as fresh as I've seen you before.
Yeah, I think they kind of wore me out that night.
I understand that.
Yeah, lots of libations.
Those are important.
She looks like she's having a tough night.
Well, it is a tough night, but you've given her some direction on what to do in this gas station, so she's going to do pretty well, I think. She gets to take a moment to look at herself in the mirror. Scenes that are always in movies that I never understand why these actors are always preening in front of mirrors, but I suppose it's a natural thing. You preen a great deal, don't you?
Well, every now and then. But the thing I remember was on Escape from L.A. He had a big scene of that car coming through town and crashing,
Yeah?
and you kept taking take after take, and I said, John, why that last one looked great, and you said, yeah, I like to watch it. Let's go again. I said, oh, so that's directing. And you said,
That's
yeah.
it. That's exactly what directing's all about.
Right, go again. I don't remember this guy.
David Naughton.
Oh, that, okay, yeah.
David Naughton's famed acclaim in horror movie land was an American Werewolf in Paris. He was the American Werewolf, the John
Oh.
Landis movie in the 80s.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, nice guy. Again, the whole issue with this segment is to establish her trapped in this booth, and there's a distance between the station and what's going on outside. And a lot of inserts, a lot of close-up shit. which
Yeah, 'cause
actors don't love, I don't think.
Well, I was looking at the insert of me writing down the phone number,
Uh-huh.
and I don't think those were my hands.
I think they probably were. We couldn't afford to get anybody else.
Oh, you didn't have a hand model?
We did not have a hand model, and nobody could do it with the kind of power that you bring to the screen, actually.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But
I see your point.
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, this was the lead-off episode of 3, and we're going to be, or the audience is going to be watching the other 2. I talked with Stacy Keach on the second one.
Uh-huh.
He's doing very well.
That's good.
Sends his best to you.
Outstanding.
And what kind of car is he driving there?
That would be a Porsche.
It would be, wouldn't it?
Yep. And you can tell by that short windshield it's a speedster.
Yeah. So I don't know anything about cars. I'm sure you know a lot more than I do.
Well, you know, kind of grew up a car guy.
And as she comes out of her booth,
Hope she didn't lock herself out.
oh, I don't know.
I guess we'll see.
She looks nice in those jeans, I think, huh?
They fit well.
I like them.
Yeah.
Ooh, nice, Dolly. Huh? All the way over to catch her face. All the way
Back
over.
in the good old days when we shot on film.
Are you rebellious against the new digital era?
No, I mean, in terms of projecting film, I think having a digital print of film negative is the best of both worlds.
Uh-huh. Well, digital doesn't hold up in turn if you store it. It degrades quickly.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Real fast. So you need to do is put it on film after you've done it, and so it'll save. So it can be
Because it has a longer
archived.
lifespan. Yeah.
Amazing lifespan, film. But not digital. Not the digital. Uh-oh. What's going on here? I think I know. The legendary Buck Flower,
Wow. Great
who left
cast,
us a
John.
few years ago, departed the scene, but left his mark on films. I worked with Buck several times. I really enjoyed him. He's a unique character.
Great look.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Then there's also a chance for me to do a lot of Dolly point of view stuff, which I love to do. It's fun.
Well, it gives it some energy that it wouldn't have otherwise.
I suppose so. Uh-oh. I'm not sure I was convinced by that door. Trying to get in that door, but that's okay.
She's hanging in there,
That's true. That's true.
trying to keep it together.
It's hard to when you're... there she goes. There
All
you go.
right. Now, this brings back some memories.
It does? Mm-hmm. What memories does it bring back for you?
Well, I remember there's a bit coming up towards the end of this epic, and you were nervous about putting me in a certain position.
Actually, you were more nervous than I was. You said to me, I hate stunts.
Well, I respect stunt people, is what it is.
I understand.
Yeah.
And the employee of the month was Sam Raimi, who's now a big-time director.
How did you find him?
Well, I knew him. I befriended him after his movies, The Evil Dead.
Oh, okay.
And really nice guy. So she found her key. She's back in. No, she's not back in. Yes, she is. There we go. I thought so. See, you get to be my age, you forget details, Bobby. That's the problem.
Yeah, she's helping Buck Flower there find the facilities.
Yep. He doesn't look like he needs the facilities particularly, but
He may not need them, but he wants them.
so okay, when you're acting in a part, how much prep do you do on it? Do you worry about the character much? What do you do?
Well, I'm always nervous on the first day.
What are you nervous about?
I just want to make sure I deliver,
Yeah.
that I bring the goods.
Yeah.
I
You have the
think this-
lines nailed every time. What do you?
Well, I try to have them down. Well, I know this guy.
Yeah, there's the legendary Peter Jason,
Yes.
who's acting at the top of his abilities right there.
As always,
Oh yeah, the 1 year,
he leaves no stone unturned.
and he one of his first movie roles was a scene with John Wayne in Rio Lobo.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
And when she replays the scene from Only Angels Have Wings between Cary Grant and Thomas Mitchell, almost verbatim.
Huh.
Broken his neck. And in the original version, before they cut it down, Peter Jason says, "I want you to go away because I want to die alone." And something that Howard Hawks said he saw when he was in World War I. This is Molly Cheek. And
I wonder what she's doing now.
I don't know. It was really cool.
She was good in this, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody was good. Everybody was good.
Trying to remember where Bill is right now.
Well, Bill disappears off screen, but we remember him. He's in our memory. He's emblazoned in our memory because he's the first image that we see, first person that we see in this.
Right. So it kind of gets stuck in your craw.
It does. It does. And that is actually Peter Jason's car at the time.
I remember he had
he
that.
loves to drive that thing. Loved to drive that thing.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it when he finally got rid of it.
I know. Well, it was his prized possession. It was a huge boat, giant thing.
Yeah, about 7 miles to the gallon.
Well, yeah.
But then, back then, gas was $1 a gallon, so.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't that good.
No?
No.
Okay.
No. Hasn't been that good in a long time.
Well, there he goes in his yacht, his land yacht,
Yep.
motoring off into the future.
And one of my first memories of you was a trip I took to the Cannes Film Festival, and I'm just a no time director at that point, just kind of trying to get by. And I arrive, and as I'm approaching I believe it was the hotel or something, the cast from The Long Riders.
We went by on horseback, or were we on
No,
foot?
you were rushing past the paparazzi, were snapping your pictures, movie stars moving, and I thought, wow, look at that. Look at that. And here's our bathroom scene.
And he's no longer curled around the toilet. That is Sir Buck Flower.
Oh, yes. Nice wide angle here. Look at that. And, uh-oh.
Now that's some artwork.
I think maybe, my feeling is that maybe Bill's work. We don't know that, but it looks a little like Bill.
Yeah, that's some intense images.
Uh-oh.
That rings a bell.
That's almost in focus, that shot of her.
Well, it must have been the best take, otherwise you wouldn't have used a soft shot, right?
That's correct. It's on the edge of acceptability. And of course, we used it, being 555. Everybody dials in movies. Everybody dials 555
I know.
because it's safe. Alice did a real good job of taking us through this. She had a real natural ability at just really simply conveying the emotions of the moment. Really, really good. Uh-oh, she's coming in with the wrench.
I wonder how that truck went up and came back down.
Again, I have a feeling that Bill may have had something to do with it.
May have been involved.
May have.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's a handheld. Shaky handheld. Now, why would I do handheld? I don't know. It became quite the style. Uh-oh. It became quite the style.
Well, this is pre-Steadicam.
No.
Yeah.
No. Steadicam came in the 70s, my
Really?
friend. Yes.
Oh, so you did this on purpose.
Yes, it was a statement.
Aha.
It was a cinematic statement. I think it was because we were rushing. We could get this in one shot.
Right.
Come all the way around. I didn't have to set the camera up. See, look at that. Isn't that nice?
That's
More
really-
handheld, and she's lighting herself.
Yeah, that's a great looking shot.
And that comes over to reveal. Uh-oh. Buck is not looking good. Not looking good at all. Uh-huh.
There's a subliminal message.
It is. It definitely is. Have you forgotten your key again, Gurley? There's Sam. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I sense, again, Bill's presence.
Yeah, especially that particular, the thing that was in his right hand.
That's true. It's true.
Yeah.
True.
It wasn't a wrench.
No. Did you enjoy playing this part? Did you enjoy being a kind of a... here we go. I just thought you had fun with it. I thought you really enjoyed it.
It sure shows here, doesn't it?
Yeah. Very charming performance, I would say, for you're trying to charm everybody. Definitive.
Yeah, that's one way of hanging up.
And how many years have you been acting, Bobby?
Well, let's see.
Be honest with me.
All right. I'm doing the math here. 43.
Man, oh man. He's a man on a mission here. Look at this.
Uh-oh.
I remember this shot. I'm glad you
do.
remembered this shot. I remember how much you enjoyed. Look at that joy there.
Because I actually got to break something, I think.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah, and you did it right, too. You looked away at the right time. And then, look at that. Now we're going to see, second here, we're going to see, I think, the famous and successful director Sam Raimi, who's going to fall out of something here.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I believe.
I think you're right.
Oh, you're really tearing at that. You're doing great. There he is.
Oh, my.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and you threw the thing in past the camera. Very impressive.
I think I was told to do that.
Well, I know, but you did it very well. Here's Johnny. Oh.
That hurt.
Nice fall, a very graceful fall, I might say. Backwards, you only used your hand to brace it. You need to break the fall, but well done. Very well done.
Well, again, it's the direction.
Is that what it is?
That's making it all work.
I see. I like the twitch there. I like that. That's very nice. I don't recall ever giving you that direction, but it's good. It keeps going a bit here.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's like he's at his death throes. I guess maybe that's what we're supposed to think, but it was just a simple blow to the nose.
Uh-oh. I sense he's feigning the severity of his injury.
You think so? We think we've pulled all the horror cliches together in this one? And
Definitely.
yeah, well, that's what we're all about. There he is. Oh, he's not doing too well. Boy, she gave him a blow. Wow. Either that or he's just a big wimp.
Boy, I tell you. That was the final death rattle.
You think so?
Yeah.
You think that's it, huh?
That's it. She's safe now.
She's safe in foreground, and there you are in the background, out of focus. That's kind of a classic setup shot here. There you go.
Yeah.
Coming up.
Oh, boy.
I know. He won't stay down. Good man doesn't stay down.
This can't be good for Alex.
But I have a feeling somebody from earlier in the segment is going to come and save her.
Really? I can't recall exactly. It's been a while since I partook in
Excuse me.
body bags.
Yep. Remember that David Naughton left his card with her, so he's going to come back and take care of her.
Oh, yeah.
Get over, Buck.
Yep. I need a truck. That was a mistake, Alex.
It was. Look at you dripping blood there, man. Milking every last second out of this thing. More handheld. We did a lot of handheld inside this garage. Aha, see, there you go.
He saves the day.
You guys did okay with this. Look at that.
That was really us.
Yeah, no stunt people. Look at you. Look at you go.
Wow. Do we have like a coordinator there telling us how to do that, or was that you?
I don't think so. I think that was all of us. Uh-oh.
Yep, the...
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah.
So now we're coming to the close of this, and this was not particularly a fun thing to do for you, I think, even though we told you that we had it blocked off. Oh, gosh.
See, I remember I helped you with that.
You helped me? How did you help me?
I convinced you to let me lay there.
Is that right?
With the thing, with some concrete blocks to keep it from being able to go all
Oh,
the
is
way
that right?
down.
You convinced me to do that. I see.
Yeah, you didn't want me to lie under it.
I see. Well, thank you.
You were concerned.
I was concerned. And I am still concerned. So we're coming to the close of Gas Station, and look at you. Every death, every time we think you die forever with twitching fingers. It's amazing. So that's Gas Station.
Boy.
There I am again. It's great to see you, Bobby, and talk with you. And we'll see you later.
Thanks, John.
You're hopeless. You should have had a lobotomy. Let's go see what other fun things we can find to do.
You were terrific in this thing. You were. It was.
Now, this particular part of my wraparound segment was a girl provided to the production by Ron Jeremy, of all people, and this young lady had had breast augmentation, and she was really happy that she had it, and I was happy that she had it. I had a joke about it, and sitting here next to me today, as we're talking about this, is the ever stylish and legendary Stacy Keach.
John.
How you doing, man?
Listen, I love the way you're very ghoulish in this.
Well, thank you. Well,
you're terrific. And listen, it's one of those parts where I heard you say it earlier. You can't do too much. I mean, there's no such thing as going over the top.
You have to go with it. You have because you're playing a dead person, and in the makeup, I must tell you, I don't know how you feel about it, but as the acting that I've done, it's easier in makeup.
Yeah. Now, how long did you have to spend in the makeup chair?
Oh, hour and a half, 2 hours in the morning.
That must have driven you crazy.
So here we're beginning the hair sequence, the segment in Body Bags, and there you are, looking very suave as usual. And we had a great time shooting this. I really enjoyed working with you on this.
I loved it too.
And there's the great David Warner.
David Warner, God love him. Yes, indeed, David. He's in England now. He's working quite a bit over there.
That's what I understand. I've been on Facebook talking to him.
Oh, good.
He's been a favorite actor of mine for years and years.
Me too.
But
you know, here I am. This was a purgation, a purging moment for me because all my life, my dad, God bless him, always complained about the fact that he was bald and he never wore a hairpiece, and that's why he never made it as an actor. So he was always after me to wear your hairpiece, and my mother too. Wear your hairpiece all the time. And so this was the way I sort of got it all out of my system.
Oh, that's great.
And I love this hair. I loved it.
And this is the beautiful Sheena Easton.
Gorgeous.
And you guys were great together. Look how tasty that shot looks. It's very nice.
Very nice indeed.
You're very successful. Must be a successful guy.
Yeah.
Pouring wine for her. And
yes.
yeah, you and I talked about this before we shot it, and we met at the Formosa
Cafe.
Formosa.
That's right.
The old
legendary Formosa.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I was delighted because you're an actor that to direct you is a joy because you know exactly
thank you.
what you're doing, and you have very few questions and burdens for the director, which is
always a relief for
it's
director.
a wonderful, wonderful thing. But I don't remember how long we shot this for, Stacey.
It was a couple of weeks, I think, wasn't
Was it? I don't remember now.
I think so. I remember toward the end when we were doing the heavy makeup where the little worms were. Were we giving something away? Or were we allowed to?
No.
Yeah. That took a couple of days, as I recall, because the makeup wasn't quite right, and you wanted it exactly right, and you were right to get it right. And we finally did get it right, but...
You look very stylish in all that hair, I must say to you.
Oh, God.
I must say to you. But this is a comic horror piece in the middle of. I call it the first one is more of a pop cultural
Right.
deal, and the last one is extremely grim and dramatic. And we're playing this for laughs.
Oh, sure.
And having a good time with it. And I never had seen Sheena before this, and she's really, really good.
Oh, she's wonderful. She doesn't do as much acting as I think she. I'd love to see more of her. I know she's still performing because I was just telling Sandy we were in Atlantic City last week, and there she was, her big billboard there. She's performing in Atlantic City.
She should do more acting work. I agree.
I agree.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been busy recently. I understand.
have. I've been happily busy. I'm very happy to say. Yeah,
You always work, Stacey. You always work.
Well, I have to. I've still got 2 kids in college. I got to keep punching the clock.
Now, I remember shooting this out. This was out in.
Oh, yeah.
Where was it?
We were in some shopping
Canyon Country?
We were in
or-
some shopping center somewhere.
That's right, shopping mall out there.
Yeah.
This guy kept wanting to change the lines.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he wanted to ad-lib a little bit because he was very in love with his part,
Uh-huh.
which is fine.
Yeah.
It's just fine. But we shot before and after out there. We shot a whole bunch of stuff. Shot with Kim Alexis out there, and,
Right.
And Greg Nicotero with his long hair.
Uh-huh.
This was back in 90. Hang on a second. 92, 93. Wow, I don't remember now.
Boy,
But it's early 90s.
yeah.
We were both somewhat younger.
Yes.
But
yes.
you still look incredibly young. I'm an old man now.
Oh, no, I'm getting there, too. Believe me.
But,
I think this was we did a lot of ad-libbing in this. I think, didn't we? Or improvising.
well, there was some. I mean, yes,
I
but
can't remember.
He really wanted to go, and
Well, years later, I did a show called Titus, and I used this look, this comb-over look, as that character, which is
there
kind
was
of
Kim Alexis, who
pretty girl.
she was a model and walked like a model. I remember going up to her and saying,
Look at that hair.
"Do you normally walk like that?" She said, "No, I don't have to." I said, No, it's good. It's all good." And this guy is Attila, a man with beautiful hair, all shot in slow-mo.
These shots are great, John. I love the way you shot this.
And then one more POV to Greg Nicotero, who's now the king of the world, and his dog. Greg is doing the zombie makeup for the Walking Dead television
Wow.
show. Yeah.
I'll tell you, with this World War Z and The Walking Dead, I mean, we're living in the age of zombies.
Zombies have been with us since, modern zombies have been with us since 1968 when that first movie by George Romero came out, Night of the Living Dead.
Night of the Living Dead. And then, you've never done a zombie
No,
movie,
I've never, I haven't gone near it.
Yeah.
And, as far as I'm concerned in what I do, the hair was pretty simple for me in terms of sketching out the shots and how the sequences go together.
Right.
It was all performance. This is performance-driven, essentially, and which is I love because it takes a lot of pressure off me.
Right. Are you still writing music?
I do. I work with my son a lot now, who's
good.
an accomplished musician. So, yeah, I do some music.
I'd love to get together with you sometime, do some music. I would love
It's fun. Got a
It
little
is fun.
setup.
I love it. I've been doing more and more of it myself.
What have you been doing?
Keyboard,
Yeah?
writing.
What style? What do you do?
All different kinds of styles, both classical, jazz, blues.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
That's great.
I play all that stuff. Oh, God. That look is great.
Uh-huh. And I cannot remember at all where we shot this. Do you have a clue? Do you remember?
We were in a studio, weren't we?
I thought it was a location. I thought it was a location.
Maybe it was.
But I don't remember
I don't either.
where. But
You're right.
what I like about this is
It has a great look.
a lot of this is done in one or two shots, really simply. And that shot followed you in, and it goes over to the mirror, and then follows you back over.
Yeah.
I like this kind of stuff. And
Yeah, I
we
do
do a
too.
little dolly in on you as you sit down, and she comes over, and
This is one of my favorite
Uh-huh.
moments coming up. This is
it's good stuff.
That's a great.
Yeah. So when did you start acting, Stacy? How old were
Well,
you?
I grew up in an acting environment because of my dad, and I was about 12, 14, 13. I started acting in junior high school, actually in grammar school, but I started doing plays in junior high school and high school. And when I got to college, I really started to focus on classical work, and I went up to the Oregon Shakespeare Festival in the summers of my youth, college career, and yeah, that's when it.
What did you do? Shakespeare?
I did Shakespeare, yeah. And that's kind of how I got, pushed to the front of the line a little bit, because Henry Hughes came up to Oregon in, I think, 1963, and I was playing the title role in Henry V, and he wrote a very nice notice for me. And that Joe Papp read that, so when I got back east, I went and met up with Joe Papp, and he hired me to work in the park, and that's
Wow.
kind of how it started. Joe
Henry
Papp.
V? That's not an easy part to do.
No, it's not. It's not.
That's real complex.
Yeah. I'm still doing Shakespeare. I love it. I'm going to do Falstaff again next year at
Are
the
you?
Shakespeare Theater down in Washington, D.C. Yeah.
What's your favorite part to play in Shakespeare? What do you love?
Well, I loved Richard III. That was one of my favorites. And I wasn't crazy. Lear is a tough part, but it's very challenging, and there's certain things about it that are wonderful. But I don't think... I love Falstaff. I really do.
Yeah.
I've done it twice. This will be my second time. And it's a great part. We're doing both parts of the Henrys, so it's going to be a long stretch.
How long will you be doing it?
6 months.
Oy.
Yeah.
Oy.
David did Falstaff.
He did.
Yeah, recently. He did it a couple of years ago. Very, very, very successfully. He's a wonderful actor. He really is. But the funny thing is, on this show, and I was surprised, he was having trouble with with lines, and I think it was that I don't know if because I've never known that to be the case with David.
I don't remember that. That's Deborah
It
Harry.
was minor. It was a minor deal. Who's that?
Deborah Harry.
Oh.
You look very dapper in that suit.
I like that
Stacey.
tie.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah. Oh, this was fun. This was great. We were in some abandoned building somewhere, I think, for this.
Were we?
I think so. It had been dressed. I'm not sure. I'm not absolutely sure.
This is my least favorite set in this episode because it's, the offices are thankless. Only so much you can do with the lighting unless you
Yeah.
go real moody
Yeah.
with no light on the actors and it's all coming from the outside, and that wouldn't have fit the scene.
No.
So I just had to do it straightforwardly, but and everybody came ready to go on this. It was so great. I didn't have any problems with anybody.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I had struggled through a couple of films.
What?
With, well, some actors aren't ready to go, and they're want to cause a little trouble, but those days are long past. We don't need to talk about them now.
No.
They're in the past.
If you can't say something good about somebody, don't say nothing at all. My
That's
grandma
right.
would
You're
never-
exactly right. I should never even brought it up. David was in one of my favorite movies, Straw Dogs, the original Sam Peckinpah movie.
Oh, Jason.
Oh my God,
that was
he great in it?
He was great in that.
And Henry Niles, he played the town, sort of the town idiot who is the focus of the wrath of the evil family. But as a matter of fact, I still call him Henry Niles.
You do?
Yes, I do. I just associate him with it. And I can't remember at what point had you done much television before this? Had you done some
Before.
TV? No, we did this together.
Yeah, I'd done that Mike Hammer detective series.
Right.
Yeah, that was on for about 3 or 4 years, yeah.
Now, was that a hard gig to do, a series?
That was tough. It was tough because there was no relief. I mean, it was every single shot. I mean, in every shot, there was no...
Did you have...
I always wanted, I said, cut to the bad guys, but they
Yeah.
didn't want to do that. They always wanted it from Mike Hammer's point of view, so they...
Did you have to... How much prep time did you have on each episode? Did you have a
Very
lot
little, very little.
Really?
Not enough. Week. 1 week. The script would come in and they'd start, 2 weeks from the time it hit, with the time it got out of the production meeting, out of the writers' meeting, from that point to the time we started shooting was 2 weeks. A week to get the script right and then a week to prep the sets.
Wow.
And it was so hard on directors. I mean, I directed one of those episodes, and my respect for the intensity of television directing is a lot different, don't you think? Than
Television directing is
feature-
really hard because you have to
feature
crank it out every day. You have to
Every
get
day.
the work done.
Every day.
And the time clock is not your friend. And it's moving people around and getting the story told visually. It's really
Right.
tough. And you did a great job in this moment of reveal that's coming up in a little bit.
Oh.
You're just suavely dressed in this. Look at that robe.
Were we in a motel or a hotel?
No, we were in your...
I mean, the set. I mean,
No, I don't. I think we were back in this apartment that we had, and this is the moment of awakening, as I remember, where you've had your treatment and you're going to discover what's happened to yourself, and you go to the mirror. And this is really, it's one of those things you look for in an actor. It's a little magical moment when you come back in here, you play this in front of the camera, in the mirror, and. It's just partially luck because we are dealing with a wig under there.
Right.
But partially your ability to pull all this together, and all I do have to do is watch you do it. But it's really.
I think we did this in one take too. Didn't
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Thank God, because we'd have had to redo
Well,
to rewrap this
It's
baby.
about how you did. It's more than anything else. And then it comes down.
See, that was
Well,
just serendipity the way that felt.
Of course, but it was. Look at your reaction to it. You played it. I couldn't have asked for more. And now we get the rest of it done. And
Don't overact now. Don't
yeah,
overact.
I know you're doing good. You're doing good. You're doing great. And there we have it.
And thank God it came off without taking the wig
Yeah,
off.
exactly.
That's the thing. It all sort of
All in one take, my friend. All in one take. See, that's what you're asking for in a great actor, is the ability to do that. And then continue on with the scene. You've gotten over that part. Now you're into just a whole different feel, and the wig is staying on, and you've done it all. It's been really impressive. It's really impressive.
What is it about hair, though? Samson. I guess Samson. When they cut off his hair, he lost his virility. He lost his masculinity.
What is it about hair?
I think Hair is a source of, inner strength. And men, I mean, my dad and I was in the same boat. When you start to go bald, and I was in my early 20s when I started to go bald, you begin to really get insecure. When you're that young. Now, of course, it doesn't matter.
Well, the styles have changed. Now bald-headed guys are cool.
Well, that's it. They shave.
Basketball players.
That's right.
Usually.
Yeah.
Look, whew. Look how you're preening. It's so incredible. It's so great. But hair is a big deal, and it has been since probably Elvis and then the Beatles. I mean, their hair has got them their girl fans, and this is a very difficult scene for you to do here.
This was really hard work.
I know. This is what actors get to do.
Oh, yes.
Directors don't. Directors get to stand there and watch. But yeah, she's terrific.
So sweet.
Tell me you love me, Richard.
And it was I don't recall any issues on this. We had a couple of challenging special effects to do with the hair, especially when the worms are moving around. That was all done by Jim Danforth in his three-dimensional animation. But what do you think of that painting in your room there?
I like that.
You like that? Okay,
Yeah,
all right,
yeah.
okay. I wasn't sure about that. You're one of the few actors that I've worked with who actually could sometimes brought in his own props. On Escape from L.A., you brought in a little cactus to put in your...
Oh, yes. I'd forgotten about
and
that.
you put it on your desk. I
That's
said,
right.
Why, Stacy? Why the cactus? He said, well, it's the only thing that grows around here. It's the only thing that grows.
It's the only living thing in that
Yeah,
room.
that's it.
Well, I mean, it's type of thing.
Well, I thought
I
that
loved
was
working.
impressive.
That was great.
That was fun. We had a good time.
I remember the night we shot the helicopter sequence out in, I guess it was Thousand Oaks.
Yeah.
It was so cold that night.
Aye.
I remember.
It was real cold there.
Yeah.
We shot at the water reclamation plant out there.
Right, I remember that.
and,
Yeah.
And then it on the studio. And
Did Kurt do, he didn't do another one, did he?
no, he didn't.
No.
No. Oh my goodness. And here's Mr. Ad Lib, who
Oh, yeah.
you look real good in that hair. And that wig is pretty hot.
That's a different wig.
Yeah, it is. It's
We had,
longer.
we had a bunch of different
Yeah, we
wigs.
did. Yeah. Different lengths.
Yeah.
Is that a big deal to put on? Is it?
Well,
to do
this
it right?
wasn't. This wasn't. It was the makeup, the
Yeah,
pot,
yeah,
that
yeah.
took forever. Yeah. I remember you had like a production facility over in the valley in Van Nuys.
Oh, that's right.
In Van Nuys, yeah. Did we ever shoot in that?
I don't think we did.
No.
I don't believe we did. Oh, you cut hurting the
Oh,
hair.
here they are.
goes the hair.
There they are. Oh, yeah. Now, was that CGI?
No,
No.
It's 3D animation like the old days. It's,
Oh,
yeah, frame at a time.
frame at a time. Wow. That must be labor intensive.
It was. It was. Jim Danforth was a fan of like the King Kong and how that was done.
Yeah.
The work of Ray Harryhausen
Right.
in the 50s, and was really a master at it. He did a great job for us. And this segment's moving right along. We're closing in on the end of this. It's has a nice brisk pace to it. It's I'm
Yeah,
happy.
it was. Yeah.
Very happy.
You know, I wish this would have been a great series on a monthly or weekly or
Well, it could have been, but you have to spend some money to get the talent to do this.
Yeah.
You have to spend a certain amount of money.
Yeah.
And they weren't willing to do. They wanted to
Showtime.
cheap. Yeah.
Well, that was that. That was what 92.
No, something like that. Yeah.
90. Oh my God.
Uh-oh. So yeah, it's pretty good. You're lighting your own mouth. That's pretty good. That's good. Very good, very good. But it would have been, it require, the part that I don't particularly like is require me to do
You'd have been
acting.
Yeah, but
I don't
then-
want to do that. I'm happy to be where I am,
Yeah.
off camera.
It's a
Yeah,
funny, you were
okay.
really good in that. That's a perfect part for you.
I acted in high school.
Yeah.
And I did this Queens of France by T.S. Eliot. I was on stage all the time.
Right.
But I went up in one scene.
Uh-huh.
Well, I forgot my lines, and ever since then I had stage fright about it. And
Now, is this 3D as well?
this is three-dimensional animation,
Frame at a
a
time.
frame at a time.
My gosh.
Yep. And he's done a lot of work. He's really accomplished. No, it's starting to happen to you, my friend.
Yes, indeed. You know,
Starting to happen. This is what happens when vanity takes over.
that's it.
You have
Vanity, vanity.
You have to be very careful of that.
Yeah, the sin of pride. Hubris.
So we must have done this at the same time we did all the apartment stuff. So we had this stage of the makeup done. That must have taken us a while
Yeah.
to change you over from normal to.
We did
longer
it the
hair.
same- yeah.
And we did it in the same spot.
Oh,
so,
wow. So it must have been done the same day.
So,
That's
and
getting
then
worse.
there's a touch worse. And there's little worms moving along. You don't look very happy.
No.
You don't look so happy. But you know, we had in Body Bags, we had you and a lot of really terrific actors, and I think one of the things that would have been fun to do if we had done a series would be to get that kind of quality of actor.
Yeah.
You know, people who are really, really good and want to have a good time,
Yeah.
and that's the reason to do it is to enjoy ourselves. I can't remember what they made this hair out of.
I think it was real hair.
Was it?
I think so. I mean,
goodness.
I know they have synthetics that are very close to it, but I think that's a great shot.
Now
Now
that's
that-
a frame
that-
at a time,
Oh my God!
and this is a frame at a time. Wow. Yeah.
I remember you described because I said, "John, what's going on here?" And you described this whole thing to me. And because I did.
You look a little like the Wolfman, Stacy, just a touch like the Wolfman. But oh dear,
Oh my goodness!
that's interesting. He split in.
David.
Now this I remember just because of the shuffling manner as you came in. It's really great.
They're very happy to see me.
Yes, they are. Well, you look so good. This is our. Oh my goodness. There they are.
Oh, my
a bunch of them. Well, it's been fun to sit and chat about
Oh,
this.
I love-
Stacey. This is
yeah, this is
the
great.
greatest, and brings back memories of working with you, which is always great for me.
Well, the pleasure was mine. Believe me.
And I'm going to have to break down sometime and come and see you in a Shakespeare play.
Yeah.
But plays are not my thing, you know. It's just
Well, if you're,
But I
do you ever
should.
get to Washington D.C. at all? Ever?
not so much. No.
No.
Not so much, but I should.
Oh
There's
my God.
David's.
Oh, David. Wow.
Yeah,
That
it's
must
really nicely done too.
Beautiful.
By
Yeah.
oh, you look like a man who's been sentenced to something.
Yes.
Sentenced to his own doom.
He's not.
That's
it.
Goodness. So they're going to harvest their little.
They're gonna
friends.
harvest.
Yeah, they are, and you're the
Yeah. I'm the.
what do you call it? The host?
Yes.
Yeah, the host.
The the production facility.
Then we do a nice little move in on you there. I like that. Very nice.
Very nice.
Very, very nice.
Oh, this is great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so happy. I haven't revisited this film.
I haven't seen this in a long time.
A long time, yeah.
Since then, and it's good stuff.
It
Good
really is
stuff.
fun. Really great.
Stacy, it's been great chatting with you. We're
too.
back to me. Great to see you, my friend.
Great to see you, Johnny. Thank you so much.
This is Justin Beam, and I'm sitting here with Sandy King. Welcome, Sandy.
Thank you. Pleased to be here.
To begin with here, what we're seeing on screen is, as John described earlier, him as the coroner, something you guys had discussed from the beginning, right?
Oh, yeah. This was always going to be part of it when he first read the script. Well, I think he facetiously said, only if I can be the coroner. And I said, sold. And so then I held him to it.
And you brought in Rick Baker to do his makeup.
Yeah. Yeah, Rick, the only makeup he did on the film was John's.
And the process John mentioned was kind of arduous. Do you remember him talking about that or seeing him going through the hours in the chair?
Oh, yeah. Every morning, brought him in and tied him to the chair. Then he had to go through it. It was a couple of days of shooting him.
Yeah. And that location was used again later, I understand.
Yeah, that was the same location that was used in Escape from L.A. In the segments with Bruce Campbell as the plastic surgeon.
Ah, very cool. Well, this is, of course, Toby Hooper's segment in the film, and we did try to get Toby on board. Unfortunately, scheduling prevented that, but we're still lucky to have Sandy come in and tell the story behind the making of this unusual anthology. Now, it was described earlier as originally being pitched as a television show by the writers. Is that correct?
I don't know. They sent me this script, and it was just a 3-part anthology. And anthologies usually don't work that well as movies, but we took it to Showtime, and they wanted it for a TV movie. So our intent was always a one-shot TV movie. We never had an intention of going to series. Showtime later wanted it as a series, but it would have been a matter of going to Canada to shoot. We didn't feel we could bring in all the cameos, all the one-shots with people like Sam Raimi falling out of lockers and various other gags like that. Would be a lot more difficult thing to live up to as a series.
And when you were originally discussing the idea of there being the 3 different segments, Toby was brought in. You know, John handles the first and second. How was Toby decided upon as the other director in the picture?
Well, he's a friend of ours, and John just thought he'd do a great job with him. I mean, Toby, you know, is hugely talented. Here's Mark about to get into some big trouble. You know, everyone knows him for Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but then, you know, he's really widely talented. He did the whole opening of that miniseries Taken, you know, he's done Poltergeist. And he's just really talented and can create suspense in a short period of time. And the idea behind this set of 3 stories is they're like the 3 faces of horror. And Toby was unique with another kind of texture from John's. And we thought he'd be good for this.
When you guys brought him in to direct this segment, how did you or what kind of conversations did you guys have about the direction that this would take? And this is it's a pretty violent, out of the 3, it's arguably the most violent one there, which is certainly not foreign territory for Toby. But what were your discussions like with him about putting this together?
Well, I think that the hardest thing was really committing to the idea of the serial killer and what makes up the psyche of a serial killer, what the visions would be like. As you'll see coming up in this, there's Robert Bush, our key costumer, and Karen Costa, John's assistant at the time. You'll see a lot of crew cameos throughout this. But, you know, I think that the biggest thing was how hard to go, how true to life to play it, and that was one of the things that came up with, in fact, having to go before the TV Critics Association about violence, about horror. and really supporting going for it in this. So Toby was, faced with a really difficult episode because this is when Mark's character has this eye transplanted. It's the eye of a misogynistic, sadistic serial killer that he gets that then has consequences.
Right. And was that something that Toby immediately grasped, or that's something that did you have to motivate him into getting to that place?
Well, he grasped it, but, I think that anybody of any sensitivity wants to really measure how far you go between being voyeuristic and prurient and being responsible to what's reality. And those were the discussions we had. And the irony is, being the female producer, I was pushing for, you've got to do what's real, because nobody should want to grow up to be that guy.
Yeah.
So those were the types of discussions. Those are the kinds of discussions we have in horror in general. There's John Agar and Roger Corman.
Mr. Corman.
Yep.
How did Mark Hamill end up coming into the picture here?
I'm trying to remember how we originally cast him, because we were doing a series of 3 movies all in a row, and we had also cast Mark in Village of the Damned.
Yeah.
And again, Mark is an actor of incredible depth and versatility, who, kind of gets boxed in as Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
But in this, he plays a really tragic person who has to essentially play 2 types of personalities. And in Village of the Damned, he plays this really holy roller kind of evil person. And I think he's just fantastic. And then, here we have John Agar, who, is from the old John Wayne Westerns,
Icon,
but also, Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah. And Roger popping his head in, which is a favor that was returned when Roger called on John to act in the film, where it was one of those mock-up films, like Silence of the Hams, I think it was. John was in that, right?
He got him on that. And then, of course, I got my start being a script supervisor for a bunch of Roger Corman films. So, Tangled Webs, and there's Twiggy, who by this time had already won 2 Golden Globes for The Boyfriend and for Best Newcomer, and we had a lot of great actors on this.
Oh, the whole film is just jam-packed with names. And the great thing about this, too, is that you're talking about Mark and you, like Bobby earlier, they're playing against type. They're playing against what they've been sort of, like you mentioned, boxed into, these characters that they're so iconic. And now they have a hard, this is a departure for them to get this kind of opportunity.
Well, and I think it's what we try and do when we cast in genre films. We want good dramatic actors. That gives you your springboard of believability. You want to ground it in reality. One of our eye technicians there is actually our assistant location manager, who's gone on to do The Hangover 3 and Argo. I'd like to think we helped him get those. Now there's the great Sean McClory back there. Remember him from The Quiet Man. He and I shared a birthday.
When you were casting the picture and calling people in, it really was, as you described, backseat casting, where you were on your phone calling your friends, right?
That's exactly it. We were in the back of Peter Jason's red Cadillac, which you saw in the opening sequence, which had been a gift from Orson Welles. Wow. But we were in the back seat of his Cadillac with the Academy Players Directory going, I know him. No, I know him. I can call him. I know someone else who's working with him right now. And that's what backseat casting meant.
And as a result, it's probably one of the most jam-packed, if not the most genre picture, and people from all sides of popular culture and entertainment in it as well. Like, bringing Twiggy into the picture, for example. You have Roger Corman, the iconic, production entity, and then Mark Hamill getting the opportunity to go against type here. When Toby was directing this. Were you interactive with him throughout his portion of the shoot?
Oh yeah, any movie that I produce, I'm on the set the entire time.
Okay.
So I was there for every shot. John visited a couple times, but he likes to stay out of the way of other directors.
Yeah. What's his relationship like with Toby?
They're really long-time good friends. We all went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame one year, too, which was kind of cool.
Is that to see the year the Doors were inducted? Is that right?
It was the year Cream was inducted. I
Cream was
remember
great.
that.
Okay.
And
I thought I remember John mentioning the Doors once.
may have been, I don't know, some of them kind of run together.
Yeah.
I just remember the Cream.
Well, that's
sure.
great. You know, fans like to imagine that John Carpenter and Tobe Hooper would hang out and be buddies. So that's
They
really
are,
neat.
they do.
Yeah, that's great.
Oh, yeah. You know, George Romero and Tobe Hooper and all those, you know, they're friends.
What hospital was this at? Do you recall?
That was an office building out in Newhall. It wasn't a real hospital. All I remember is having a fight with the unit manager in the parking lot.
About what?
It's one of those days. It's usually about things like the quality of the food or something the crew didn't get.
Yeah.
This was the beginning of a great relationship with my production coordinator who went on with us for many, many films, Cheryl Miller. We had the production designer that also did Starman on this. Mouth of Madness came right after this.
Right after, okay.
And right after Mouth of Madness came Village of the Damned, but they were all just kind of backed up like airplanes on the runway. So there were a lot of things crossing over at the same time.
Yeah.
But we just had this slot where we felt that we could get this done and then get up to Canada for Mouth of Madness in the nick of time.
So in the first segment, we had Bobby Carradine, as we mentioned, playing against type from his most iconic role in Revenge of the Nerds. How did he come into the picture for that one? Was that another where he was a friend of yours that you thought might have
I'd worked on the Long Riders with all the Carradines and Keaches. So this was my opportunity to introduce John to Bobby and to Stacy. And so then Stacy went on to also do Escape from L.A., and Bobby went on to do Escape from L.A. and also Ghosts of Mars.
Yeah.
So we have repeat offenders. Peter Jason went on to do Prince of Darkness, They Live, Ghosts of Mars, a bunch of them.
And where was this home where they're in a very
This
very
was
clean
also
suburban home?
This was also out in. All of these locations were pretty much in the valley because we were having to try and keep things where we could run between, and we only had like a 7-day shooting schedule. So as I recall, this was out in Woodland Hills, up in a regular tract house. And we shot all over it and dug up their backyard as well.
Yeah. There it is.
Yep.
So Toby, as a director, you know, John is known for goofing around, keeping things lighthearted, but also very efficient on set. And everyone who comes away from working with John, that's one of the things that is impressed me over time, interviewing people who've been in his pictures. The actors usually go on to work in film. Everyone involved is motivated to become something more. I'm just curious what Toby's like on set and what his interaction is like with the actors and the kind of mastery he has over his crew, considering how John is famous for his approach.
Toby's quieter, has a great rapport with his actors. He does a lot of his planning in his meetings. He has really extensive pre-production meetings. And from what I can tell, seems to marry a lot of his actresses. But no, these are, all the guys you mentioned that are friends are also known for making movies. They all started out under really adverse circumstances and had to get really stylish films done with very little money, tell stories and move people in ways that guys with big budgets and big promotions couldn't.
Yeah.
And I think everybody remembers how they were moved by Texas Chainsaw Massacres. And I don't think anybody's been able to top how scared you get in that movie. It's one that still gives me nightmares. So if you can do that and move people that way, this guy can tell a story. And I think that he can get that through to a crew, how to do it, and the actors where to go. I think they all had a good time with him.
I've always said that same thing, that like with John and his early films, and Halloween is, of course the big one. It's the same kind of thing where he came into it without all the resources, and so that pushes them into creative territory that otherwise would be, they'd be oblivious to it if everything's all catered to them. And the first film or first few films out for someone tend to be ambitious, really, personal, and very much of their creator. Whereas down the road, when studios, big money and all that comes into play, oftentimes people go, well, I sort of feel like this X filmmaker is sort of lost in this film. It doesn't seem like one of their pictures.
Well, I think you have to see whether there was a story they were trying to tell. What's the human element inside? And I think that that's the thing. If you look at Texas Chainsaw Massacre, what was the story inside? There she goes.
That's so great.
Up she came. That poor girl. People underestimate what it's like to be buried alive. That's one of the hardest things any stuntman or any actor has to try to do, is come up out of dirt. But I think that when you see the successful storytellers, it's who finds the humanity, who finds the thread, and it isn't just the one-trick pony or the simple gag.
Yeah. John's career has had such a diverse spread as he's entered into all kinds of genres, certainly not just horror. I mean, Starman is such a brilliant, brilliant picture. And then on to most recently The Ward, where he's dealing with basically an all-female cast. I mean, he continues to head into the sort of unknown waters and explore there. As you've been with him for so long and been a party to so many of these productions and everything, how have you seen John evolve as a creative entity and as a filmmaker?
Well, I think that it's like anything you do a lot. You get more self-assured, and then you look for the new challenge, so that you get a confidence. It's like any master craftsman. You could be a gun engraver, you could be a woodworker, you could be anything, but you're looking for the next master sculpture, the next master thing that you want to do. But you just have the layers of assurance you build through the years. He's always been a great storyteller. Then it becomes, what's unique about the next story? What story haven't you told? I think The Ward was his chick flick.
Yeah.
Which was fun. I think that it's fun to see him do fantasies like Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, yeah.
Or something like Elvis. People don't necessarily immediately think of that kind of range. The next thing we're doing, Dark Child, is a PG-13 dark fantasy. So it's just a way to take that assurance and those tools and put them into another format, another way to tell a story.
Does he look at film the same way he does as when you first met him? Are your conversations about enjoying film and also creating, but just in general, are they the same as they were then?
Yeah, because I think that the difference in the conversation becomes about new technologies, what's new in the toolbox, other ways of communicating things. But at the base is still the story.
Yeah.
It still is, there's something deeper to tell.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's the point of the story you're telling? What's the human element under it? What's the point you're trying to get across, either the morality tale or the cautionary tale within the tale. Those are the things that are still our conversations.
Yeah.
Those are still the things you look for if you go see Argo or Inception or whatever else.
Mm-hmm.
What's the tale beyond the tale?
Yeah.
And the craftsmanship. Oh, he's gone crazy. It's so sad. But see, I think Mark's just masterful. You buy him.
Yeah. You get lost in him in this, and you don't think of it as being Mark Hamill. And
No, and that's the success, and I think that's Toby's success as well.
Mm-hmm.
He takes him there. I think they did a really great job, and that's Nicotero's success in the ground there.
Well, Toby has this way about all of his pictures where he makes things feel very real. He has, there's almost, it almost could be considered a lack of fantasy in what he creates because he so starkly paints human beings existing in the story that they're in. And like that's part of what makes Chainsaw such a masterstroke is that you feel as though you're sitting right there in that Texas heat, smelling that all the dead animals and everything else. And here, you're spending this time with Mark, and what blows me away is that you follow his transition at the beginning. You know, he's the lovable baseball player, and he ends up in this incredibly sinister place. But the way Toby takes you with him throughout the whole journey almost makes you empathize with him to an extent.
Well, look at, for one thing, how innocent the house is.
Yeah.
And it's very intentional. You know, he makes it everyman, and at the same time gets you very claustrophobic with him. He gets you really, really closed in with Mark. Really, the more psychotic Mark's character gets, the more closed in. And look at the bars that start coming up in this.
Yeah.
And watch the kind of lighting job Gary Kibbe does in here as it starts becoming a cage.
Mm. And he's doing here what John did in Halloween, which is sort of invading our sacred space. Our homes are our turf. And you bring the creature, the beast, the evil, the whatever it is, into that territory, it's infinitely more terrifying because now where else do you go? You don't have that safe space. You don't have that respite.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you know, there goes our sacred cow. You know, Mommy just did it in.
Mm-hmm. As he's laying in the crib.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, really nice staging, really nice job.
What's an emergency? And he's not dying, if that's what you mean.
I'm feeling a little better.
Hold on a moment, please.
And I don't think people are used to thinking of Twiggy as a dramatic actress, though they should. She's done a wide range of work.
Mm-hmm.
They're not as familiar with it because a lot of it was in England, but she's great.
No, don't bother. We'll call him in the morning. Thank you.
Yeah, their relationship is something you see them struggling to try to keep normal as he's sort of devolving into this other being that's sort of taking him over. And you really feel for her. She wants help somewhere, anywhere. Here she is. Here's the Bible. I mean, the phone calls, and she's really trying to hold on to this relationship, which is relatable, I think, to anyone who's gone through any kind of relationship issues.
This is not going to end well. She's not impressed.
Now, one thing you mentioned earlier, oh, there's full-on Mark.
Yep.
There he is. And that was Mark, just to confirm
Yep.
for people? And this is the uncut version of the film, by the way, as well, that you're seeing for the
Yep.
very first time. So the order of the segments in the film, you have the gas station, and then you have hair, and then you have eye, which gas station plays, basically a mini slasher film, essentially. And then you have hair, which is a bit of sci-fi, a bit of comic humor, and then into the eye, which just goes into such sinister, very personal, dark territory. Did you put them in that order intentionally in the end when you were assembling this as a single piece?
I truly can't remember whether they were written in that order or whether we put them in that order. I mean, the idea was that they were the three faces of traditional horror in our minds, and that we felt that what was on TV at the time wasn't really a horror fan's horror, and Showtime was willing to let us do it. And we were kind of being a little bit like, okay, you guys want horror on TV? Here you go. We'll show you how it's done.
Yeah.
And we felt like we had a great way of showing you, here's the classic setup, girl in jeopardy, no one to save her. Mm-hmm. Here's a funny one that had, and then Jim Danforth, Academy Award nominee for When Dinosaurs Ruled the Earth.
Oh, sure.
Doing classic Harryhausen stop motion animation on the hair.
Yeah.
And then balls out scary serial killer horror. We thought, there, we just showed you how to do horror on TV. Thank you, good night.
It really, even though that wasn't necessarily the intent for all parties initially, it is kind of too bad that it didn't become more over time. And John has, as you mentioned, that the anthology doesn't typically, your feelings that it doesn't really work that well as a film. John and Toby both showed their hands here. It's just incredibly powerful short-form storytellers.
We think it works as a film for TV.
Yeah.
Because I think an audience will watch it at home. Oh, Mr. Agar, you're about to be in trouble. But, I think, or at least in those days, it was harder to get a box office response from an anthology.
Okay.
I think people were more inclined to think of that as a TV format. They weren't as inclined to go out and spend $10 and popcorn and everything else to go pay to think of what they thought they should be getting for free at home. So we think it works as a whole of a piece, and we meant it to be of a piece. Mm-hmm. But in terms of thinking, like, do we take this out as a feature film, that was never our intention.
Well, and this was a time when on television you had Tales from the Crypt.
Right.
Tales from the Dark Side predated this from George Romero.
Right.
And so, on TV, this was huge. And also, this plays by that same book that Tales from the Crypt like to pull from, bringing celebrities in for to appear in the different film, episodes every week. So it was definitely of its time very relevant to what was happening.
Yeah, and more, we were just trying to get the best actors, and give them and getting them by letting them play things that they wouldn't otherwise get to play.
Right.
I mean, that was really more our formula, more than we didn't have a need to put a box office name on it, because that wasn't a requirement. But it was just, we got them intrigued by saying to Stacy, you want to do something really goofy? And yeah, he did. and it gave me a chance to introduce him to my husband.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, hey, Mark, you want to do something really against type? Yeah, he did.
Yeah. And initially, hair is kind of what sold John on the film, right? That when you looked at the 3 stories, that was the one that appealed to him and actually Toby as well, right?
I don't know which thing first appealed to him. I mean, at first he just looked at me like, why? We've got this other stuff backed up. And I said, oh, come on, I think it'd be cool to do. And nobody's doing anything as scary as we think it should be on TV.
Yeah.
What if we did this? What if we were able to set it up on cable where we can do whatever we want? If I find someone who says we can do what we want, would you do it? And he said yes because he thought I couldn't find anyone that would say we could do what we wanted. I'm convinced that was largely it. And Showtime was great with it, and the executives were great.
How did it end up? I mean, considering Showtime's openness to anything goes, essentially, on their network, they have no reason to censor anything. How did this end up in a cut form eventually, with that stuff trimmed, some of the bloody bits in the scene we just saw a few minutes ago?
You know, I've never understood what happened. I think probably part of that happened when they went to release DVDs and stuff in Europe and places where there was more censorship.
Oh, sure. So it carried over.
Yeah, I think that's just what got carried because it wasn't censored on Showtime. It was other places.
Yeah.
And so I think that as it got passed around and in other countries and various other, because when you go to other countries, there's a lot of censorship rules.
Right.
We really, like I said, there's a dark zone there where we're not quite sure what happened.
And that applies to the cover art as well. That was something that wasn't your choice initially as well, right?
No, we were on location with In the Mouth of Madness, and that just showed up and was essentially being shipped out. And there's certain fights when you're in the middle of being rained out of other locations where you just go, really? You think that works? And who are you and how did this happen?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, well, we just figured that, you know, we were, look, we made it for a cable TV show, and at the time, it got really baffling that the thing was being shipped out as a DVD.
Yeah.
It's just kind of, fine.
But it was shot, the full format. It wasn't shot for television by any means at all. And this is the first time also, in addition to being uncut, that everyone's seeing this as it should be seen here, and it's with the entire picture in view finally.
Well, we did try to protect just in case, which we always do. Never presume that something's only going to go one way.
Yeah.
Yeah, because something cool might happen, or like we said, you know, it might go to Europe, something else might happen with it. So yeah, we protected it, but like I said, it's always baffling, the second lives of things.
Yeah. That brings up a great point that right now John is going through something fascinating with his career, where I've never experienced a filmmaker having almost his entire catalog reissued in these deluxe editions that are remastered, uncut, extra bonus materials and all of that. It's really a unique celebration of John and his career that's happening all at once right now. Is he responding to that? Have you guys had conversations about this sort of renaissance of Carpenter?
Mostly he ignores it. He's really not, you know, you kind of, if you buy in too much to that, you also have to buy in too much to when it goes the other way.
Well, thank you, Sandy. This has been a real treat to have you on board here. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I got my eye on you, baby.
So now we're back with the coroner. And I hope you've enjoyed watching Body Bags.
Myself, I love stories about
The last episode that Toby directed, was very strong, very dramatic. So my job here is to lighten it up and take us out on on a high note. Now, in a moment, two performers are walking in to play the final scene with me, and they're both dynamic actors. They blow the screen apart. So I wrap myself in a body bag to not compete with their abilities. We had a great time shooting this stuff. It was a lot of fun. I hope you've enjoyed watching it. And here's Tom Arnold and Toby Hooper. And as, I don't know, as a couple of coroner's assistants, why they are, I guess they're doctors. They're going to do an autopsy on me. Toby's character looks pretty nervous. And I want to thank everybody at Showtime for letting us do this, and cast and crew for being in it. I had a great time making it. I hope you enjoyed watching it. And Tom Arnold gleefully guts me. And we're finished with body bags.
You know, these guys crack me up. You gotta love 'em.
Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy it. Take care. We'll see you soon.
It's not good. Well, look at your liver, buddy. What the hell you been drinking? Formaldehyde?
How's it coming?
Give me the head saw.